Do you want to know 7 reasons Ronda Rousey got knocked out again? This time by Amanda Nunes. If so, stay tuned to this video. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more fighting. Now, I had to make this follow-up video. I did some quick post fights. I told you guys I was going to do a more detailed one. Now, you clicked on the video. This is just my thoughts. Just my thoughts. If you don't want to hear the truth, you don't want to hear my opinion, this is not the video for you. And I'm going to break down UFC 207 main event from what I seen, and I'm going to give the top 7 reasons why Ronda Rousey got knocked out again. And this is from my perspective, and let's get into it. And this is not even just a video just to say I told you so, but some of the stuff that I've been talking about on the channel, it is proven, and I'll show you guys some examples. But it's not, I'm here to educate. I'm trying to break down the fight game and give my opinions and also thoughts. And some people, they disagree, and then when it happens, then they're like, oh, and they're all shocked and they disappear, and they do like Ronda Rousey after her first loss and go into hiding. Now, I didn't make an official prediction video. I was busy with the holidays and doing a ton of stuff, but I've dropped so many clues as to what it was going to be. And I posted this on Instagram. Y'all always be going against my fight game knowledge in the comment section. When will y'all learn? LOL. Does Amanda Nunes look like a premier striker? Now. Hashtag 48 seconds and still. Now, I dropped this earlier. This is all on the page. If you guys follow me, you already know this. And this is what I told people. Dangerous fight for Ronda Rousey. Nunez is a champion now with good confidence building momentum, and she is a premier striker. Ronda is in good shape though, right? And we seen that. And then I had a guy, Korean Nuke, who responded, and he disagreed. Said, I wouldn't call her premier, just all the other women are below average at striking. Ronda should take this fight pretty easy. Now, look at this picture. Does it look like she's taking the fight pretty easy? Look, and does it look like Amanda Nunes is a premier striker? If you guys watch the fight. So, silence, you know what I mean? I also have the clip of the fight on the page also, so just check it out. And I'm going to get into these 7 reasons why Ronda Rousey took that fade and took that L. And let's get it in. This is in no particular order, but in at number 1, Inactivity tune-up. Now, this is a very easy one. And shout out to my dude, Troy King Cuerno de Chivo. He's been telling you guys, and I'll probably try to insert the clip here.
Walters, after the fight, he was like, you know, and then in another interview right after the fight, he was like, listen, man, my promoter had me off for a whole year, and then the first fight he gave me was the Lomachenko fight. Like,
a tough fight.
A tough fight. Like, that's kind of unfair. You know, for people who box, they know what I'm talking about. If you don't box, oh, it doesn't matter.
What about okay, so the viewers that maybe just watch the sport, why is that matter?
Because you're inactive. That's like, listen, that's like you take any sport. You take the Cavs or the Warriors or whoever, your favorite team, and don't let them play for the whole season, and then they got to play the best team in the NBA with the best record. So playing the Warriors? Playing the Warriors and you ain't played all season. And you're not gonna do shit.
What's gonna happen? Steph Curry gonna bust your ass?
Steph Curry gonna bust your fucking head open.
He gonna chef Curry with the pot? So, okay, some people, because we did the live stream, and some people said you're making excuses. Do you believe you're making an excuse, or you?
No, it's not an excuse. That is actually an excuse. Is well, no, because no. What actually happened is the man didn't fight in a whole year, and then
since Jason Sosa, I think that was in December 2015.
That was 344 days ago, and then you put him in there with the best fighter at that weight.
That's facts, dead ass.
That's facts,
dead ass.
So we're not even gonna use them anymore. Luis Ortiz didn't fight for 8 months. You put him in there with Malik Scott. And he didn't look good at first. He usually will get you out there in the first 3 or 4.
That's a good point.
But he didn't fight for 8 months. Got him in there, and he had trouble.
Same thing with Brandon Rios.
Same thing with
Last fight, he fought Timothy Bradley. He got stopped by Bradley. And he ain't never been badly hurt, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you might be onto something.
You know, I know
actually,
I
you said I know.
I know I am. You know, I might be. Bitch, I might be. No, I am.
Don't. Now, as you guys heard, that was an interview I conducted with Troy King, and he was giving his take on how inactivity can affect a fighter. And he used a boxing reference, Vasyl Lomachenko fighting Nicholas Walters, who had gained weight in his offseason. His last fight was a draw, which a lot of people thought was a robbery, and he had a year off before he fought Lomachenko finally. Failed negotiations over the summer, the fight didn't happen, and then it happened at the end of the year in November. And we've been telling you guys what inactivity can do to a fighter. And it's really not rocket science. It's just like anything. I used to work at Lowe's. That was 3 or 4 years ago. I knew everything from top to bottom. I knew the computer system. I knew how to page people. I knew how to handle the safe, all those types of things. But if I hadn't been there in the 4 years, 3 years, I mean, hell, even 1 year, who knows what kind of upgrades, advancements, and changes they've made. Because I actually know some people that still work there, and they have iPhones or something to page from, which we didn't have when I was working there, right? So that's with any business, that's with anything. Things change, evolution. So again, if I went back to Lowe's, even though I was very well versed when I worked there, because I was a salary manager, right? And I had constantly been promoting up. If I went back there now, would it be the same? Would I know everything as good as I did? You know what I mean? Plus you forget certain computer screens I was going to on a daily basis, so it becomes routine. The fight game is no different. The fight game is unforgiving. If you haven't fought in a year plus and then you go and fight a champion, that's just stupid. You should definitely take a tune-up, and we've seen time and time again. If you're fighting at the elite level, fighting a champion, there's a couple people that can do it. But coming off a knockout loss and a long layoff where you gain weight, just like Nicholas Walters versus Vasyl Lomachenko, it's not wise. It doesn't really make sense. It doesn't behoove you to do something like that. You know what I mean? I'm not making, this video is not about making excuses, because I actually am happy for Amanda Nunes that she won. I'm just telling you straight up, her team, that was a foolish decision to come back and fight a champion with momentum, who's been more active than you, who hasn't been stopped like you, and you gain weight in your offseason and you just come back and think you're gonna dominate her. That's just foolish. And I could think of countless examples. Look at Manny Pacquiao when he fought Marquez. He got knocked out brutally, bad knockout, highlight reel knockout. They made a million memes about him. He took a year off, and then he came back and fought Brandon Rios, moving up in weight. Brandon Rios went from 140 to 147, plus Brandon Rios was coming off of a loss to Mike Alvarado. So stylistically, Pacquiao always does well with that Brandon Rios style. Guy's much slower, maybe with the punch. And that fight made sense for Pacquiao's career at that particular time, so that's what they did. You're going up against a guy or a girl in Amanda Nunes who stylistically, she's closer to what just gave you problems in your last fight with Holly Holm. She's a striker. She's a little bit taller than you. She has power, and it just is stupid. No tune-up, and you just think you're gonna go in there and get your belt back like that. It makes no sense. Another example that I can do in boxing is Bernard Hopkins. He had to get knocked outside of the damn ring to kind of get it through his head, like, okay, enough's enough. He was 52 years old, fighting somebody 13 years younger in Joe Smith Jr., and he paid for it. He fought Kovalev. He didn't get knocked out in that fight, but he took a lot of punishment, especially in the first and 12th round, and Kovalev almost had him out of there in the final round. And then Bernard Hopkins is out of the ring for 2 years, and he comes back and thinks he's gonna beat a Joe Smith Jr. So it's proven at this point, as far as I'm concerned, that inactivity does play a part at the elite level. When somebody's fresher, younger, never been stopped, or even if they have been stopped, but they're just fighting more frequently, and you're coming from the sideline, I mean, who do you think is going to have more momentum? The person, it's like football. If someone just rode the bench for the whole season and then an injury forces them to step in, who's going to be fresher? Somebody who's been playing every single game, or somebody who's fresh off the bench who hasn't had any minutes in the game since the season began? Common sense. Bad decision from Team Rousey to even go into a fight like this with a style that is proven to give you issue with no tune-up. In at number 2, boxing skills. And I told people this for the longest time. Ronda Rousey lacks stand-up game / boxing skills. And I really believe this, and I've said this before, but when she fought Bethe Correia, that was at the kind of the peak of her career. She had a knockout win in the first round over Bethe Correia. It was impressive, and people were like, oh, she got a couple movie deals. She was in the Fast 7. She was in Entourage, getting all these endorsements or little side gigs, and she was on Ring magazine, somewhere right around there. And then after it all falls down because Holly Holm destroys you, right? And I think at that Bethe Correia, that moment, she started to believe in her ability, her stand-up ability, and she kind of started feeling herself too much and went away from what actually is her MO, and that's judo. That's taking it to the ground. That's armbar submissions. You know what I mean? Why the hell are you standing up with girls that are bigger than you, boxing or striking type backgrounds, and they're powerful? Big frame women that aren't afraid and not fighting you afraid, and they're better strikers than you, and you're not anxiously trying to take it to the mat. To me, that's stupid. And I think both fights Ronda Rousey paid for that, because she started to believe, it seems like to me, she started to believe in her stand-up game more than she should have, because you knocked out Bethe Correia. They're not coming at you like Amanda Nunes. Bethe Correia, I looked at her knockout percentage. It's not that high compared to an Amanda Nunes. You know what I mean? And Holly Holm, we already know she's a boxer who's battled adversity. She took a nasty stoppage loss and then avenged that in regular boxing. And you're trying to have a stand-up war with girls like that. That's just stupid. You're supposed to, that's the whole beauty of fighting sports or MMA. If somebody does something better than you or good, then you negate it with what you do, you know what I mean? And you neutralize it. And Ronda Rousey, she always had, to me, her boxing skills stink. Like, you watch her shadow box and it looks like amateurish. I see people, I go into the boxing gyms and I see people who just started boxing, you know what I mean? And they have better technique boxing than Ronda Rousey. So I thought, to me, and I said this in a video, I thought it was really foolish for Ronda Rousey. You took a year off to not get a real boxing coach. I don't know who trains her, but he ain't no boxing coach, like no known boxing coach. I told you guys in the video, Floyd Mayweather Sr., that would be ideal. Somebody's going to teach you fundamentals. Now, I mean, a year is a year. You can learn. You can't necessarily learn everything, but shit, it's a better canvas and a platform than this. You know what I'm saying? Whoever your current boxing coach is, because if you watch the Ronda Rousey fight in the Amanda Nunes, she just really doesn't have boxing technique. I seen her when Nunez stunned her. She backed up in a straight line, like it looked like she was moonwalking. Like, who does that? Boxing coaches, they'll get on your ass for stuff like that. You don't just back straight up. You don't have your chin in the air. You tuck your chin. You know what I'm saying? Just certain things. Head movement. Ronda Rousey has no head movement. The way she turns her punches. It's just, her boxing is not up to par. At the very least, if you didn't get like a Floyd Mayweather Sr., I really think she should have got like a Freddie Roach even. You know what I mean? George St. Pierre, he's considered one of the best welterweights. And he works with Freddie Roach and has been that way for a minute. Actual boxing gym. Actual guy who used to box. It makes all the sense in the world, but for whatever reason, loyalty or whatever, you make enough money where you can enlist an actual boxing coach who's going to teach you better, because especially against, like I said, premier strikers, Nunez and an actual boxer who turned an MMA fighter in Holly Holm. That makes no sense. So you can at least last and know what to do in compromising situations. Oh, you get rocked. And it's funny to me, you got to appreciate the sweet science. When Floyd Mayweather got rocked by Shane Mosley in that second round, he got hurt twice in that round, might I add. And him being such an intelligent boxer, he knew what to do in that moment, hurt or not hurt. He had his wits about him to the point where he was rocked, buzzed, badly hurt, possibly could get knocked out if he took another bad shot, and he immediately reaches out and clinches immediately, like BAM! And he has this death lock on Shane Mosley. He ends up fighting back aggressive in that round and then going on to dominate Shane Mosley. That is smart. That is ring intelligence. That is a boxer who's probably been hurt before. He's been there before. Ronda Rousey just has never shown me that with her stand-up game. Same example would be Julian J. Rock Williams versus Jermall Charlo. J. Rock being a young fighter and somewhat inexperienced at the elite level, as soon as he got hurt by Jermall Charlo with that nasty uppercut, he got stopped. He didn't take a knee. He didn't try to clinch for dear life, and he tried to stand up. And all Jermall Charlo had to do is pile on some extra punches, land a few flush, and then it was stopped. You fell down. You know what I mean? That's inexperience when it comes to boxing and standing up. You do what you have to do to survive for that second. You can say, oh, you're a bitch for holding, but would you rather be the person who was a bitch for 5 seconds, if that's what you want to call them, for clinching when they're hurt, and then they survive and go on to win the fight? Or you want to get memes made about you because you got knocked the fuck out? Stupid. Simple, sweet science stuff. Number 3, now this is a good one. And in my opinion, Ronda Rousey is mentally weak as a champion. And there's several examples of this. In fact, I did a video so you guys can see. I've been saying the same thing. This video was about Ronda Rousey skipping out on all of her media duties. And I just dropped it December 27th. And here's a little sample of what I was saying. Just dominating Ronda Rousey. And then it seems like after that point, we seen a different Ronda Rousey, a more mentally fragile Ronda Rousey. She was on the Ellen show. She was crying. It looked like she had gained some weight. She was doing a couple high-profile interviews with like maybe Sports Illustrated or something occasionally. And she was saying like, I'm so sad. Or on the Ellen show, she said, I'm so sad. Maybe I should just have Travis's babies. I'm nothing. I lost. And she was just depressed and taking the loss very, very hard. And she couldn't eat an apple. Her jaw had to heal and stuff like that. I remember I seen a TMZ interview. I think they like followed her outside of the hospital after the Holly Holm thing. And she had like a hoodie over her face and it was covering her face. You couldn't even see that it was her. You know what I mean? She was like the Phantom of the Opera. Don't look at me. And it was just a whole different side of Ronda Rousey. Normally you see Ronda Rousey in like Entourage movie or Fast 7. Just miss the media day and the media workouts that every other fighter, no matter if they're coming off of losses or wins or whatever, they still have to participate in, including Conor McGregor. And again, like I said earlier in this video, he tried to do the same thing and Dana White said no. So I don't know. I don't like that. I feel if females want to be treated equal, I think the loss was in November. So yeah, it's a little bit over a year, I would say. And she's coming back fighting the girl that has her old belt and a girl who looks very vicious and very dangerous on the stand-up game. Ronda Rousey, I've seen her shadow boxing and stuff. Her stand-up is not where it needs to be. But I don't know. It's kind of concerning to me when fighters, you know what I mean, you can't make the media working. I understand trying to get in the zone, but I mean, how much space you need? You've been out of the public eye for the most part for about a year. You know what I mean? You're doing Reebok commercials saying fear the return and I'm coming back and nobody's perfect and I don't care, I don't want to be perfect, but then you can't make this. And then I heard they did it was UFC 205 when they were promoting that particular card, the Madison Square Garden. They had Ronda Rousey and Amanda Nunes do a face-off real quick, and they're two squared off in, I think in New York or whatever. And after, I heard Ronda Rousey was like shaken up or something. So that's just a small sample of things that I was saying. I also mentioned there was reports that in the build up to this fight, early before it was announced that she wasn't participating in any of the media stuff, that the media could not ask any questions about Chris Cyborg. Like, these are all weak mental behaviors to me for a champion, because at the end of the day, you're in a combat sport. Losses happen. You know what I mean? It's up to you to bounce back. And I even said this in another video and it's this video you guys see. Ronda Rousey shocking weight gain after KO loss and leaked photos. Almost 1 million views, and I dropped this March 9th, 2016. So almost a year ago, 296 days ago. And we'll listen to what I was saying in March of this year. But I think that's what she needs to do. But instead, she's not really doing that. She's kind of disappeared from the spotlight. She was very boisterous and outspoken. Now she's like crying on Ellen. I mean, that's what it is. I can't sugarcoat it. She's crying on Ellen, and she's saying she contemplated suicide. The thing that's more shocking about that is her dad committed suicide. So my dad was an alcoholic, and that has happened. You guys can thumb down the video, get mad at me, but it's not me that's saying it only. There's other people like Miesha Tate who believes that too. So Rousey's not the same. Miesha Tate, who's lost twice to Ronda Rousey, calls Ronda Rousey a broken woman. She did an interview on the Jay Moore show, and Miesha Tate, who is now a champion after beating Holly Holm in the upset, she says she believes Ronda Rousey is not the same and she's a broken woman. So you guys can thumb down the video, get mad at me, but it's not me that's saying it only. There's other people like Miesha Tate who believes that too. So it's an uphill battle. Like gaining weight, it takes a lot to be a champion. And Ronda Rousey said that to her last opponent, Holly Holm. She said it takes a lot, and Holly Holm's not equipped to deal with this lifestyle. Her overall demeanor is looking like it's going to be a hard time for her bouncing back. Plus, when you take an L like that, a lot of other opponents feel the blueprint is out. The aura of invincibility is gone. Like when people actually see Mike Tyson lose to Buster Douglas, they're like, okay, this guy is human. He's not just getting in the ring and knocking people out in the first round, hurting them bad in the second round, and having these highlight reels. He can be hurt himself. He can be dropped. So it's also a reality check for opponents, and a lot of people want that shot because you're still a big name and now you look vulnerable. Make sure you share the video, like. And that's just a sample. Again, the video is still up, almost 1 million views, and it's from March. And I told you, when people see that, you feel you get exploited and you look vulnerable, you look weak, you're on Ellen saying you're crying, then why wouldn't girls like Amanda Nunes, who's the current champion, who's taller than you, a little bit bigger than you in terms of height and stuff, and feels they're stronger than you mentally, why wouldn't they be confident going into the fight? That's why you never show the chinks in your armor by doing stuff like that. And that's what showed me that Ronda Rousey was not mentally equipped for this. And it's funny because, like I said in this video that you guys are looking at, she said the same thing about Holly Holm. She said Holly Holm's not equipped to be a champion. It takes a lot and she's not ready for the life I am. You know what I mean? And ultimately that was the lie detector test determined that was a lie, because every indication that you weren't mentally strong was shown. Because there's it's a General Patton quote, I believe, and I don't want to slaughter it, but it's something to the effect of, I don't measure a man like when he's doing good, and I measure a man by how he acts when he's doing bad, right? And if I can find, I'll try to throw the actual quote into this. It's something to that effect, but you guys get what I'm saying. The whole point is this: it's easy when everything's on the up and up, you're winning, everyone's talking good about you. What do you do when you actually take a loss, or when you have to struggle, or things aren't coming to you as easy? That's the ultimate measure of a man or a woman, is how do you bounce back from like a loss and things like that, or when the road gets rough, when you're dealing with this outside of the ring or outside of the octagon, right? And to me, there was just telltale signs that Ronda Rousey didn't have it. Crying on Ellen, not doing the media days, that's huge to me, and I told you guys that in the video. Why can't you do media days? Like, and you see, and then, like, if you really, and I even said that in the video, man, like, you guys could go check all these videos, what I'm saying, but I said that. Let me see if I can find it. Still had to promote in Macau, China, at working in the favor, but that, I don't know, this whole behavior is suspect to me, because I heard another thing with Ronda Rousey. We're going to ask you about and how you cope with it. That just comes with the territory. You took a loss. I mean, we all seen it. It's on tape. So even if you don't go to the media day, that doesn't change anything. It doesn't change shit. You still got knocked out and dominated by Holly Holm, who later lost 2 times in a row. You know what I mean? So facts are facts. So it doesn't, to me, I think one of the stronger things to do is to find peace and kind of bury the hatchet. Go to your media days. Be strong enough, mentally strong enough to face the public and face the media scrutiny and the questions and the doubts. That's all comes with the territory when you take a loss. You're in a competitive and grueling sport. Let me know what you got. I can't find it right now, but I said in this particular video that what do you do if you dodge all the media week so you can quote unquote focus and then you lose? And that's exactly what happened. You didn't go to media day so you can lock in and hone in and all this stuff, and you still got knocked out in 48 seconds. Now you look like a jackass because you didn't participate in the promoting of the fight. You got paid $3 million, and Amanda Nunes got a flat rate of $100,000 with the win bonus of $100,000 and maybe some pay-per-view back-end money. So you got all this money. You got $3 million to not promote the fight, right? In terms of, like, you did a couple UFC promo commercials on your own time, and that's different because that's the UFC stuff. But you didn't do anything aside from the actual fight night and the weigh-in. And even after the weigh-in, you just walked off. Amanda Nunes, that's not fair. And I told you guys that in this video. It's not fair. Amanda Nunes, she got to talk to Joe Rogan after she weighs in. She can't just go to Chick-fil-A or Olive Garden and go eat, but you can. You getting $3 million and you could just storm off the stage and pout and all this stuff, and you get to go eat and replenish, get some carbs in you, and Amanda Nunes is still doing interviews. You know what I mean? You get to stay in your hotel or whatever, and Amanda Nunes is at media day workouts doing interviews. How is that fair? I'm sure every fighter wants to just relax, chill with their family and their team before a fight, a big fight, but they got to do their media obligations, but you don't. Conor McGregor had to do it, but you don't. That's not even fair, man. So again, mentally weak behavior from Ronda Rousey. And I even said in the weight gain video, and some people call me a body shamer or some dumb shit. I didn't even say anything bad. I just said she gained weight. And I mean, it's pretty apparent. The naked eye can tell that, right? From the pictures. So, you know what I mean? It had nothing to do. I didn't roast her or make fun of her or call her names or anything like that. But in this video, I also said, I have faith that Conor McGregor, I wish I could find it. I said to you guys that Conor McGregor, I think he'll have an easier time bouncing back from his loss because oh, here it is, I think. Sell tickets, but I think he's also very durable mentally. And I think he's mentally a bit tougher. The reason why is you seen he didn't go into hiding after his loss to Nate Diaz. Shout out to the 209. Shout out to Nate Diaz. But he took an embarrassing loss. He probably, based on who he is, talked more shit about Nate Diaz than Ronda Rousey talked about Holly Holm. Even though Ronda Rousey did trash talk Holly Holm. But Conor McGregor, that's what he was doing to sell tickets. You know what I mean? He was doing it a bit more frequently. He was making like bigger promises and I'm gonna bounce heads off canvases and things like that. So arguably he talked more trash, and he didn't go into hiding. He didn't disappear. He immediately responded. Make sure you check out my video. I did a video about Conor McGregor's message to the critics and the haters and the fans. It's on the channel. But Ronda Rousey, after that loss, the way she took it, to me, was not indicative of someone who has the strongest championship mindset. And just things from like TMZ, they were trying to interview. So I told you guys, man, I'll be giving you guys the game in advance. Ronda Rousey is not mentally strong. You know what I mean? Anybody who's talking, you're in a combat sport and you're talking about suicide because you took one loss. You know what I'm saying? Like that, you're in the wrong business. Like Rocky Balboa said, let me tell you something you already know. The world ain't all sunshine and rainbows. It's a mean and cruel place, and it'll beat you there if you let it. Nothing is gonna hit as hard as life. Right? Rocky told you guys best. The world ain't all sunshine and rainbows. So you have to have that grit. You're a fighter. This is what you do. This is the hurt business. You see this video, Chris Cyborg, she was crying, trying to make weight, trying to get down to Ronda Rousey weight. And speaking of Chris Cyborg, I think it's apparent why that fight was never made now. You know what I'm saying? You couldn't even deal with a newer striker, someone who's fairly green. You know what I mean? So you're going to deal with a bigger Brazilian striker in Chris Cyborg. You know what I mean? So that just goes to show you. And again, nobody's going to feel sorry for you. It's the way of the world. The internet is cruel. The internet is undefeated. Like they always say, you got to be mentally tough, especially if you're a celebrity. You're in the limelight. I'm not even on her level of celebrity or people that know me, but I have a good following. I get stuff all the time, and I don't even have 1 million followers or subscribers. You do. And I still get a lot of, you know what I mean, people hate and say, oh, you're a bitch. People do this and name call, racism, whatever. It comes with the territory. So you think if there's a video of me tripping and falling on the ground and scraping my knee and people, you know what I mean, more people knew about me or whatever, and the video's circulating the net, you think the internet is going to have chill? They're not going to have chill. They're going to be like, aha, he fell, aha, you see how he fell, aha. So you got to get over it. The internet is not there to be your side. If anybody, it's not. And the other thing is, you got to understand how the game goes. And I'm going to move on to the next point after this. But the way the game is set up, it don't matter who you are. The internet got no chill. You could be, you could be president, Hillary Clinton, a presidential hopeful, Adrian Broner when Maidana beat him, Pacquiao when Marquez knocked him out. You could be anybody that takes an L. The internet's gonna jump on it, right? Ray J, Kim Kardashian, anything, Kanye West, it doesn't matter. So the sooner you realize that, the sooner you'll be better off. And bottom line, Ronda Rousey has showed time and time again that she is not mentally tough. She's not built for tough. Number 4, confidence. This is an easy one. I don't even have to spend too much time. I always wonder where her confidence would be losing to Holly Holm. You know what I mean? And it was apparent. Her confidence is not there. And I think part of what made Ronda Rousey gifted or whatever is the fact that she was undefeated and she had this aura. She could trash talk. She could say, oh, my mama told me I'm not a do-nothing bitch. I'm not. And that kind of arrogant attitude, but she was backing it up at the time. Fighting girls like Kat Zingano, who had losses, or Betch Correa, not really enough power to hurt you. Misha Tate, someone who you match up with stylistically really good based on what you do and submissions and stuff like that. And she kind of let it all get to her head and started feeling herself and getting gassed up. And that confidence got rattled when Holly Holm destroyed you and knocked you out, right? And I think going into this fight, that wasn't a good look, because this is not the type of person that you want to be in there with a shot confidence. And to me, she did not look confident. As soon as she got touched with a shot, bow. She looked bewildered, like, oh shit, you know what I mean? And people are always going to have flashbacks of, if you just got knocked out a year ago, you don't think that's going to pop up in your head when you get rocked by somebody who has power, who's coming to take your head off, basically. You know what I mean? It's simple mathematics. What do you think is going to happen? And to me, Ronda Rousey looked shell-shocked. She didn't, and like I said with the earlier point, with the boxing, she does not know what to do when under attack. She doesn't know how to buy time. She doesn't know how to, you know what I mean, at least try to like shoot for a takedown or something. But she was literally eating all of the shots. Like, she dodged like maybe 1 or 2 in a succession. And she was like, bink, and getting hit with the big shots. You know what I mean? Like, bink, and just kind of freezing in position. And I noticed that in the Holly Holm fight too. As soon as, with the confidence thing, as soon as somebody stood up to the bully, like the girl, the armbar specialist, then she doesn't know what to do. Like, it's apparent. Like, she freezes up. And that's really weird. That's why, like I said earlier, the stand-up is not her deal. So she should have always been trying to rely on her judo and stuff. But I think the Hollywood life and everything gassed her up to the point where she was like, you know what? I'm gonna stand toe to toe with these girls. I can do it. I don't know, but the confidence was easily rattled in the Holly Holm, and Amanda Nunes didn't give her anything to be confident about for the 48 seconds while it lasted. In at number 5, Amanda Nunes. Now, I can't make a top 7 reasons list without giving credit to the actual person who pulled this off, because had it been a lesser opponent, Ronda Rousey could have won. You know what I mean? Like let's say Miesha Tate beat Amanda Nunes and held onto the belt. Ronda Rousey already has 2 wins over the Miesha Tate style. Miesha Tate's older in her career, that's why she just retired. So had it been Miesha Tate that retained the belt, then Rousey probably could have beat her again. You know what I mean? Or she has a stronger chance based on the stylistic matchup, right? So you got to give credit to Amanda Nunes, because Amanda Nunes, and I told you guys this, Amanda Nunes looks like she's not joking. She wearing a fucking Lion King. She's wearing a fucking Mufasa or whatever, lioness wig, or not even wig, a mask or whatever the fuck, and she's wearing that as she weighs in with a coat in her hand. So she's comfortable. She knew she made weight, because you can't be weighing in with hella extra shit on a lion's head and a jacket. So it looked like she knew she was gonna make weight comfortably, because you wouldn't have that extra stuff. You see certain people like Paige, she weighed in, she just lost too. The UFC needs to stop hyping up these people, man. But anyway, she weighed into her last fight, or one of her fights, and she had to have a towel because she was naked. You know what I mean? And you sitting up here and you see Amanda Nunes, she's weighing in with a fucking lion's mask on and something in her hand. She had like a jacket or something in her hand. So she knew she made weight. She came in confident. She's like, I'm the champion, take this belt. And I told you, like, she looked even more menacing with that haircut. She got that Michael Jackson looking mullet. She really did look like Michael Jackson for a minute. You know what I mean? And then I told you guys, Amanda Nunes just looks like she doesn't care. Like, I think she's a lesbian or whatever, and she looks like she doesn't care. Like, I told you guys, if she gets cut, or if she's like bleeding a little bit, she's not all dainty like she's gonna, you know what I mean? She looked like she could be on Scared Straight or something. Like, she would like take no bullshit. And I'm not even trying to roast, because Amanda Nunes, shout out to her, she did her thing, but she looked like a no nonsense type of female, and she wasn't gonna get shook. So I got to give credit to Amanda Nunes, because it had it not been for her power and stand-up game and her confidence going into the fight, it'd be easy to lose to somebody who's, I don't know what the odds were, but Ronda Rousey might have been favored to win just because of the name, and people know the name more than Amanda Nunes. But trust me, I guarantee you they're checking for Amanda Nunes now. In at number 6, Floyd Mayweather Curse. I gotta put this because it's funny as hell. Just dumb shit, and it's gonna lead into my 7th and final reason why Ronda Rousey got knocked out. The Floyd Mayweather Curse. Ronda Rousey, ultimately, to me, she got gassed up, and she started believing stuff. And I really think she took the focus away from what she does well, and didn't strengthen on the other things she doesn't do well. Like I said throughout this video, her stand-up game, her striking, her head movement, and ability to like dodge shots and use your footwork to get into position. She didn't focus on stuff like that. And the Mayweather Curse is real, because at the height of everything, at the peak, she started focusing on dumb shit. That Floyd's in a different discipline. He's now retired too, and he's a male and you're a female, and you started focusing, you win an ESPY or Fighter of the Year for whatever reason, even though you got knocked out that same year, but whatever. You won the ESPN award. That's who they wanted to win. I think Caitlyn Jenner got an award too, so that already lets you know what ESPN's on. They're trying to do some politically correct, oh yeah, we got to spread the love type stuff. But anyway, you win the ESPY, and instead of congratulating your team and saying, we made it, or whatever, you take a shot at Floyd Mayweather. Like, yeah, what do you got to say? How does it feel getting beat up by a woman? Obviously alluding to Floyd Mayweather and his domestic violence charges or jail stint. And you say, hey, how's it feel to get beat by a woman? Stuff like that. So I think the Mayweather Curse is real, man, because you kept mentioning that man's name, and the media and people were writing about you beating Floyd Mayweather. And look who you're losing to. Girls who have boxing ability. Mayweather It's stupid. I told people it's stupid. Mayweather would have destroyed Ronda Rousey, and I don't know who would. Again, if Mayweather can get the respect of big ass Canelo, I was born ready, and Oscar De La Hoya and Pacquiao, guys with a punch, guys with like man chins, a chin for a man, right? What do you think he would do to Ronda Rousey? You know what I mean? Does it look like Ronda Rousey's stand-up game can compete, even if it was a no holds barred fight? You know what I'm saying? You have to get in position, just like Amanda Nunes. That's why I told people, it's good that Ronda Rousey does the judo, but her being a taller woman, Amanda Nunes being taller, you have to be able to get into position to try to take her down, right? And you're gonna have to walk through hell going through Amanda Nunes, because she's not gonna go out like no punk, and she's gonna be swinging, and she's gonna be striking and throwing lethal punches. So, and what is that gonna do to your confidence in your face and your body and stuff like that? So again, the whole Mayweather situation was nonsense. She would have got destroyed. Mayweather has elite level footwork, elite level speed and precision and ring IQ, and Ronda Rousey can't even compete with slower women who weigh 135, but she allegedly is gonna beat up on a guy who's competing at 147 and has been undefeated for 19 years. So the Mayweather curse got to Ronda Rousey. Easy work. And the final point, number 7, the 7th reason why Ronda Rousey, in my opinion, got knocked out is the media. That's it. The media took a good fighter and a fighter with certain attributes, and they filled her head up with all these things. I remember watching, I think it was Mark Wahlberg, and it just had all these celebrities, and they're talking about how Ronda Rousey is the best female combatant, not just like best female in the UFC. They said of all combat sports, like boxing included, and said she was better. She's the best ever. She's unstoppable. They said she's like a robot. She's merciless. She's the best person ever. You know what I'm saying? And they did this. They created this monster and got her feeling herself to the point where she probably stopped focusing on certain things that she needed to focus. Like I said, started getting sidetracked with movies and other distractions, getting those paydays and fear the return, getting caught up. Nobody's fearing anything because Amanda Nunes definitely didn't show no fear in that fight. You know what I'm saying? So just the media created this monster. Dana White allowing her to do what she wants and get $3 million to not promote the fight. People writing articles saying, "Oh, she'll beat Mayweather, a grown man." You know what I'm saying? With way more fight experience in general than her, because he's older than her. He's been more dominant than her, right? The media did this. The media made her. Somebody said she was the Terminator. That's what it was. They said she was the Terminator of women. So that's just, I told you guys, that's a disrespect. You disrespect girls like Ann Wolfe and Layla Ali when you say stuff. Even Holly Holm, because Holly Holm has been in dual sports, multiple sports, like from karate to boxing to UFC. You know what I'm saying? So she's paid her dues, and it's just a disrespect. You put her on the Ring magazine, Bible of boxing. You put her on it, and she hadn't even, who she beat, Betch Correa and Miesha Tate and stuff like that. And then I think ultimately Ronda Rousey became a product of her own hype, and as soon as you drop the ball or stop focusing, you know what I mean? You can't go into. I'm trying to tell people, man, when you're at the top, there's always someone underneath you who's working for your spot. Point blank, period. And the bigger you are, the harder they're working or hating or whatever you want to call it. And they're underneath you trying to get what you have. So whether they can execute, they are trying. If they get the opportunity to fight you, like Betch Correa, I don't think Betch Correa was coming to lay down. Ultimately, she couldn't pull the trigger and get the win. But none of these people are coming. They want what you have. You're in movies, and they're like, man, Amanda Nunes is probably like, man, I've been fighting her my whole life. I'm more versatile than her. Her stand-up, you know what I mean? Fighters critique other fighters. I'm around them, and they critique them like, oh, her stand-up game sucks, or look at that, she has no head movement. I would catch her with this. It's a competitive sport. It's a cutthroat sport. UFC, boxing, all fighting sports, right? So there's always someone trying to wait for that opportunity, that golden ticket, that Willy Wonka golden ticket to get a crack at you. Amanda Nunes said, I've been wanting this fight for a while. I knew I was going to beat the shit out of her. because she probably already measured up her game to Ronda Rousey's game and probably like, man, I'm better than Ronda Rousey. She ain't gonna get me in no armbar. And see, that's what people sleep on. I told people this was a horrible fight for all the 7 reasons I just gave. Horrible because Ronda Rousey's stand-up game sucks. Her boxing is not good. And confidence, right? And then also, even if it went to the ground like judo, we're talking about a Brazilian with a black belt in jiu-jitsu, and I think she's a brown belt and something else. So, you know what I mean? And she looks strong as hell. So even on the ground, there was no guarantee post-home knockout that Ronda Rousey would have as much success as she's had in the past. You know what I mean? Because Amanda Nunes, like I said, she's willing to take some to give some. She would have been trying to like weasel her way out and hammer fist you and do whatever she could to get out. So those are the 7 reasons why I believe Ronda Rousey got knocked out. Just you can't let the media build you up to be this monster and not be working as hard. And I got to make the comparison with Floyd Mayweather because he's been undefeated for 19 years. It's not easy. You know what I mean? Ronda Rousey, you can never get ahead of yourself and think that it's time to slack and, oh, I'm doing movies. You got to learn how to balance it. And also, me personally, and not just me, there's a lot of people like this. They were actually happy that Ronda Rousey lost back-to-back because of Ronda Rousey's attitude. So if I had to do an 8th reason, I would say karma. You got to be humble in this game. You know what I mean? There's always people who want what you have. And Ronda Rousey has done some pretty crude things, some snarky things, where people try to have sportsmanship and shake your hand after. I think Misha Tate or something, and she didn't shake hands before the fight. When they're in the octagon, they try to glove up and touch gloves and dap you up, and you take your hand back. She called Holly Holm a fake preacher's daughter bitch and accused her of basically putting on an act because her dad's a preacher, that she's this church girl, innocent girl, and she said she was gonna knock her out and she's not built for this lifestyle of being a champion. And then you lose to her, then you're not doing the media day and obligation. They're just a nasty type of personality to do that. You got to be humble. And then on top of that, you can't be doing all these things. If you want to do all those things, then you better be busting your ass to make sure this doesn't happen. And obviously, I'm not saying she didn't train for the Nunez fight, but it obviously wasn't good enough. You didn't train in the right areas because you got stopped in 48 seconds. At least Conor McGregor bounced back and beat the person. It wasn't easy, but he beat the person that beat him for the first time in the UFC. And neither of the Diaz fights for Conor McGregor was as devastating as your last 2 fights with Holly Holm and Amanda Nunes, because he didn't get stopped. He submitted, and we know Nate Diaz is better on the ground with the jiu-jitsu. You got stopped bad and exposed. Like, you're not, it's not even that you got stopped. You got stopped in destructive fashion, and you won pretty much no second of any round in both of those fights. You didn't really have a plan B to adjust. So you definitely got to humble yourself and not let the fame and the money get to you and not be a crude person. And that's just my opinion. You guys can get mad, thumb down the video. Don't change nothing about my bank account. Drop it in the comment section. Make sure you share the video, like the video as always. Hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego signing off. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button. And you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxingego, the future of boxing.